Welcome, everyone. I'm Deborah Loader. I'm a certified master transformational health coach. And today we're going to learn a little bit about the autoimmune matrix, the health triangle, and some of the things that affect our immune system. The health triangle consists of the chemical self, the physical self, and the mental self. Now, this will include some things that functional medical doctors believe and practice. And if you have a traditional medical doctor, don't worry. You can take this information and share it with them, or use the information to make changes in your own health. If there is something that comes up during this webinar and you would like to take it further, I will be sharing my contact information at the end, so please feel free to reach out. Also, feel free to leave any questions in the chat and I'll try to answer those before we complete. So let's jump right in. The triangle of health. Imagine health expressed as a triangle, and at the base are your genes, right? All 23,000 of them. Each of these are inherited from your parents and are present your whole life. However, they're not necessarily noticed unless some other factor activates them. Now, the genes can be turned on or off, much like a light switch, by what we can visualize as the points of the points on the health triangle: the chemical self, the physical self, and the mental self. Now, this will make more sense as we discuss these components of health further, but I know that functional medical doctors view the whole triangle in its entirety. Now, remember, functional medicine is a systems-based approach that focuses on identifying and addressing the root cause of disease. This triangle of health represents components of the autoimmune matrix, and it's understood that autoimmune diseases are caused by chemical, physical, or mental influences turning on certain genes. In other words, autoimmunity is bred by lifestyle choices and behavior. It's also important to note that each of these elements can interact with one another. For example, if you're not tending to your physical self, or our chemical self reacts and vice versa. Fortunately, this means they can also be addressed in the same way. Our influences chemically, physically, and mentally can determine our health to be either compromised or optimized. Now, while this may sound scary, it's equally empowering and can instill a lot of hope in those suffering from autoimmune conditions. Now, an autoimmune disease is an illness that causes the immune system to produce antibodies that attack normal body tissues. Autoimmune is when your body attacks itself. And examples of autoimmune disease are rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, and multiple sclerosis. Most conventional doctors today will solely focus on the chemical components using medication. Now, there are endless ways to influence the body using the standard of care, such as artificially manipulating inflammation, vital hormones, and many of the other essential chemical processes within the body. This is all done with one common goal, and that is covering up the symptoms. Now, on the other hand, functional medicine addresses the origin of disease to ensure comprehensive and effective treatment. Covering up the symptoms should never be considered or disguised as a cure. Functional medicine is centered around the patient versus the disease. Practitioners see health problems as a reaction to dysfunctions within the body rather than just an isolated issue. And this approach is truly revolutionizing the medical field by empowering patients to better understand imbalances in their bodies and how these imbalances affect their health, and the solutions available to support the normal healing mechanisms within their body. When this is applied to autoimmune complications, people are astonished by the improvement in their health, if not complete recovery. So the chemical self. Chemical components of health will be a large majority of what we discussed throughout this presentation, and for good reason. In short, chemistry in this sense refers to anything that enters the body. And this can be food, vitamins, minerals, water, pesticides, preservatives, dyes, and many other things. And other environmental factors that you may have less control of might be bacteria, parasites, toxins, allergens, and other microorganisms. The common theme throughout the triangle of health is your control. Your chemical self is influenced by what you choose can enter your body, and in turn, the chemical influence on your gene activation. Up next, we'll be explaining some common chemical or nutrient deficiencies. Now, in the words of Dr. Osborne, the importance of nutrition can't be argued. It's absolutely critical. Essential nutrients found in food, like vitamins, minerals, amino acids, carbohydrates, and fats, are necessary for the proper functioning of the body. Each have their own job, and everyone's needs are specific to their own unique health. One thing to consider is the why behind the deficiencies. It may be due not to consuming enough foods that contain them. It could be impaired gut function, or it could be the result of existing autoimmune issue. The most common nutrient deficiencies include a vitamin D, vitamin B12, zinc, omega-3 fatty acids, and believe it or not, water. Unfortunately, the most commonplace procedure for measuring the levels is serum testing or blood testing, right? Serum testing can be incredibly limiting as they do not take into account the fluctuations of vitamin content throughout the day or just around meals. Now, that being said, serum lab testing is not a good indicator of the storage of nutrients, the sustained nutrient levels, or accurate deficiencies after digestion. This is an important conversation to have with your doctor if that's the only test being offered to you. Now, later in this presentation, we'll be reviewing other recommended testing procedures. But first, let's take a closer look at some of the deficiencies. Vitamin D. Now, most immune cells have specific vitamin D receptors which help modulate immune activity and response. And it's no surprise that clear connections have been found between autoimmune diseases and this deficiency. Some common foods that are high in vitamin D are wild-caught salmon, tuna, eggs, and mushrooms. The most abundant source of vitamin D, however, is from direct sunlight. Yet we're advised to limit our time in the sun, and with good reason, and to wear UV blocking sunscreen. However, vitamin D is an aid in improper immune function, and this in turn helps to prevent autoimmune disorders. So it can be confusing. Now, common medications used to treat autoimmune diseases can actually cause vitamin and mineral deficiencies, and in turn hinder the immune system. And you can see how this is truly counterproductive. You deserve to know if the medicine that you've been prescribed caused deficiencies, and if so, you also deserve to be given the appropriate supplementation. So I'm going to go over just some common medications and what deficiencies that they may cause. So common blood pressure medication. They may cause the following deficiencies of vitamin B1, B6, and C, magnesium, calcium, potassium, zinc, sodium, CoQ10, and melatonin. Some common cholesterol medication may cause the following deficiencies of vitamin A, B2, B6, B12, D, E, K, folate, beta-carotene, iron, and CoQ10. Some common diabetes medications may cause the following deficiencies of vitamins B12, folic acid, and CoQ10. Anti-inflammatory medication may cause deficiencies in vitamins A, C, D, B12, folic acid, potassium, iron, magnesium, and zinc. And heartburn medication may cause deficiencies in vitamins D, B12, folic acid, beta-carotene, calcium, iron, and zinc. And another is hormone replacement medication. And that may cause deficiencies in vitamins B2, B6, B12, C, folic acid, magnesium, zinc, and selenium. Now, please note that these do not go for all of these medications, but these are just general guidelines. Above all, it's always most important to have proper testing to ensure that you are treating your unique needs. Now, if you would like this list of medications and deficiencies, let me know in the chat, and I will email you that information. Another is toxic overload. Now, we are exposed to toxins on a regular basis, and many are often unavoidable. And these include pesticides and GMOs, air pollutants, heavy metals, chemical contaminants. And toxin can be the cause of many health complications like fatigue and muscle aches, joint pain, sinus congestion and postnasal drip, headaches, bloating, and autoimmunity. To reduce and prevent this toxic overload, there are many ways to minimize exposure. You can buy organic and non-GMO foods. You can use air purification systems. You can use water filters, and you can buy toxic-free household items, especially cleaners. Now, luckily, there are ways to monitor your nutrient deficiencies, the toxic buildup, and body imbalances. So consider these tests when working with your functional medical doctor, as they are designed to assess your individual nutritional status. Now, the first one is lymphocyte proliferation. Now, this tests for nutrient storage versus what is simply found in the blood and serum. This is a more concrete measure in the sense that it does not change as frequently as the results in other tests. Another one is iodine loading test. This measures your iodine status and possibly some deficiency. A 25-OHD. This is a test that's an effective way of measuring vitamin D. Iron panel with ferritin. Now, the important part here is the ferritin. Be sure to request this, as most doctors do not make this their initial avenue on iron testing. Excuse me. That's what happens when you record these live, right? CBC is another test. It's also known as the complete blood count. This is the most comprehensive blood test for assessing anemia and the functioning of many systems within the body. Another one is homocysteine. This is an indirect marker for vitamin B2, B6, B12, and folate. Another one is the hemoglobin A1C. This detects average blood sugar. C-reactive protein. This is an identifiable marker of inflammation. Insulin. Insulin affects the body in a number of ways, but above all, this test measures the amount of stress on the pancreas based on the amount of sugar found in the bloodstream. Now, if you would like a list of these tests, just let me know in the chat and I will email you this list. In order to properly diagnose nutrient deficiencies or most health complications in general, it's important to rule out any issues associated with gut function. If your gut is not functioning properly, it's unlikely that your body will be able to absorb the proper nutrients. So therefore, eating the right foods or taking supplements will go unnoticed, and you may become frustrated with the lack of improvement. Some of the major functions of the gut include digestion, immune response, nutrient absorption, hormone regulation, vitamin production, detoxification, and mood management. Above all, the gut's sole purpose is to ensure you're absorbing the good and excreting the bad. If this balance is disrupted, major health complications occur. There are 10 times the amount of bacteria in our body than our own cells. And the majority of that bacteria are housed within our digestive system. Now, that being said, gut health is truly the gateway to health for a number of reasons. Fortunately, our gut has defenses or firewalls to help it properly do its job. Now, these include gastro-associated lymphoid tissues, or GALT, G-A-L-T. This is the gut's immune system, and in fact, 70% of our entire immune system. Tight junctions are small proteins that are responsible for holding the gut cells together. Mucosal IgA, that's the antibody considered as our first line of defense against toxins. And friendly bacteria. As we mentioned, we have more bacteria in our bodies than we have cells. The bacteria can communicate with the gut, warning it of a potential danger. Stomach acid. This is absolutely essential for the digestion and absorption of nutrients. All of these barriers together combine to promote a healthy gut and, in turn, healthy immunity. These components have been proven to significantly damage the gut. The standard American diet, chemicals such as pesticides, preservatives, heavy metals, food dyes, GMOs, infections like bacterial, viral, parasitic, or yeast overgrowth, gluten and other grains, food allergies, excessive medications, aggressive exercise, and chronic stress. These are some of the main proponents for the cause of leaky gut syndrome. And that's a harmful condition that causes many health complications. Leaky gut is when the tight junctions between the intestinal cells begin to open up due to the proteins breaking down from agitation. Now, when this happens, bacteria, chemicals, and toxins have the ability to leak outside of the digestive tract and eventually enter the bloodstream. This signals a flood of immune antibodies and increased allergic reactions. Now, this cycle continues and ultimately leads to autoimmunity. It's important to know what is specifically irritating your gut. So up next, we'll be going into more detail of some of the common culprits. If you're using medication, it's crucial to be aware of the potential risks. Some include antibiotics. They can destroy the good bacteria needed for digestion. It can cripple vitamin synthesis and increase your risk of yeast overgrowth. Common pain medications have been found to erode the mucosal lining of the stomach and the small intestine, which contributes to intestinal permeability. Acid reflux medications block stomach acid production. In turn, this hinders digestion and absorption, often leading to nutrient deficiencies. Antidepressants negatively affect the neurotransmitters in the gut. Gluten was the first medically proven cause of autoimmunity in 1952 by Willem Dickey. Since then, plenty of research has backed this up. Gluten allergies and sensitivity have been increasingly more common. However, recent research has been implying that gluten can cause adverse health effects in people that don't have those conditions. Now, why is this? Gluten produces a protein called zonulin, and zonulin directly affects intestinal lining. Hello, leaky gut, right? The antibodies that are initially produced to attack gliadin, gliadin is one of gluten's building blocks, right? So the antibodies actually it leaches out into the GI tract and into the bloodstream. Now the body reacts by secreting inflammatory chemicals as a defense mechanism. However, the body becomes unable to differentiate between the gluten or the invader and the body's healthy tissue. And this is what we call the start of autoimmunity. Some of the most common ignored allergies are food allergies, medication allergies, surgical allergies, chemical allergies, mold allergies, and allergies in the additives of some of those things. All untreated allergies can cause serious health complications, including autoimmune disease. Now, fortunately, there's many ways to test for allergies, like skin tests, blood tests, lung function tests, patch testing, food challenges, often in the form of an elimination diet. Common heavy metals and elements can be lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, fluoride, bromine, and chlorine. These are all incredibly dangerous to your health and immunity. And unfortunately, we're exposed to all of these in the air that we breathe, the water we drink, and even the food we eat. The most alarming way toxic metals affect our health is by competing with beneficial minerals for the binding sites. This leads to deficiencies regardless of your daily intake. Your exposure to many of these toxins is often gradual, and therefore the accumulation can go unnoticed for extended periods of time. Fluoride consumption has become an increasingly more prominent issue. It's often put in public water and encouraged in our dental routines. Yet research suggests that mass exposure can contribute to autoimmune thyroid disease, brain disease, and the displacement of iodine. Now note that iodine is especially important for thyroid functioning and the production of the thyroid hormone T4. So inhibiting the production and maintenance of essential thyroid hormones have truly dangerous and disabling consequences. Because if the thyroid does not operate properly, many health complications occur, like adrenal dysfunction, fatigue, depression, weight gain, muscle aches, brain fog, low libido, and you guessed it, autoimmunity. Our health is truly a combination of the things we put in our bodies, between the quality of the food we eat, our exposure to toxins, and our body's ability to detox efficiently. Our chemical makeup is directly affected. Work with your functional medical doctor to ensure you're receiving the proper testing, a comprehensive healing strategy, and the support you deserve to take control of your chemical health. Now, the physical component of health is a bit more straightforward, as it's something we confront every day. It encompasses our physical activity, the integrity of our muscles, and quite literally our body mechanics. There is a commonplace misconception that as we age, our health naturally declines. We hear it all the time from doctors that the aging process is basically synonymous with our bodies breaking down and becoming sick. However, this is very wrong. It's wrong. Instead, it's our choices is what facilitates the breakdown. As we age, we begin to exercise less. And this is not due to being unable to exercise. It's a choice we make because we get busy, and it's justified to not be as active. A sedentary lifestyle breeds a dangerous cycle of health issues, including muscle atrophy, which muscle atrophy increases joint pressure, decreases flexibility, and escalates pain. Pain then causes us to continue not exercising, which leads to more muscle loss, further joint restriction, and more pain. So can you guess the solution? Get moving, right? Get moving. Find an exercise routine that feels right for you. That's like the most important health decision you can make. If you are currently in pain, however, you must start slow and work with a professional to guide you through a routine that will not worsen any of your complications. In order to introduce physical fitness into your life, remember these tips. Start where you are. Make small changes. Determine individualized goals. Create a routine. And do not give up if you don't see immediate results, because health takes time. So some ideas to get moving might be to, take a bike, take a bicycle instead of driving. Schedule post-dinner walks. Dance when you're doing the housework. Make it fun. Take on more active hobbies. Taking the stairs, parking further away in parking lots. So I'm curious, how do you schedule more movement in your day? What do you do? Now, the emotional component to the triangle is probably most often ignored. Yet it's just as important as the rest of the triangle. You are what you think. Remember that. If you do not believe that you can recover, it's likely that will become your reality. On the other hand, if you are hopeful and positive, your ability to overcome health complications increases substantially. Feed your passion. Spend time with the people that you love. Find things that make you feel relaxed and manage your stress. And the most important of all, don't forget to love yourself throughout your healing process. Being in a chronic state of stress truly breeds disease, especially autoimmunity and inflammation. Everyone manages their stress differently, but to add a little relief into your life, try some of these things, like implement some deep breathing. I give workshops on conscious breathing. So if you're curious about that, let me know. Have fun exercising, maybe some yoga, get a massage, create a meditation practice, or make some art. Be creative. Spend time with loved ones. So do you have any ideas to add to that list? First and foremost, get the proper testing done to identify your body's unique needs and treat accordingly. Luckily, there are other things that you can do to amplify your health right now. Here are some additional action steps that you can take to win the fight against autoimmune complications and take control of your health. One of them is intermittent fasting. Cut out all grains, dairy, legumes, nightshades, and processed foods. Change your diet to only contain easy to digest whole foods. Experiment with an elimination diet. I'll be hosting a reset cleanse in January. Let me know if you're interested in that. You might want to try we'll be eliminating some of those foods like the grains. Stay adequately hydrated. Make sure to eat enough fiber and take a quality probiotic. Supplement with digestive enzymes. Avoid unnecessary antibiotics. Detox regularly. Practice that deep breathing exercise. Adopt good hygiene practices and exercise regularly. Connect with others. We were made for connection. So do that, connect with others. Be sure to get enough sleep and rest when you need it. Find a hobby that you love. And lastly, do what makes you feel happy and healthy. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little more about autoimmunity and what can affect your immune system. As with most changes to our health, any improvement, no matter how small, can take you in the right direction. Now, all of this information, along with a gazillion ideas on Google, can truly be overwhelming. I am here to help curate the information, and when we work together, I will not give you all the things, but all the things just for you. Healthy doesn't have to be hard. If autoimmune disease is something you are concerned about or you would like to know more about on how to improve your health around autoimmunity, let's have a conversation. If you have any questions, just post them in the chat or contact me. Here is my contact information. It's my website, my Facebook, email, or phone. Any of those, you can reach me and we can talk about this if you've got questions. Please share the most valuable piece of information you learned from the Autoimmune Matrix. I'm curious. Also, if you feel like you need support on your journey, please don't hesitate to ask for help. I am here to support you. So thank you again for joining me in the Autoimmune Matrix webinar. Until next time, I invite you to live well.